So what are Aussie and Kiwi builders' reputation in London?
Back then it was awesome. They were the cream of the crop. Like Fit Out UK was owned by, well, both companies I worked for were owned by English people, but Fit Out UK pretty much only employed Aussies and Kiwis. Yeah, right. But I don't know if it's still the same. I've heard, through the grapevine of other guys coming back that it's changed a bit. I think like as I was leaving was when they opened up some of those countries in the EU, so there was a lot of Polish guys and those countries coming over to work, and
right.
I think the dynamic changed a bit. But while I was there, it was cool. It was, everyone was there to work really hard, make heaps of money, and then go on good holidays. It was cool. Yeah. It was a good vibe.
Yeah, that must be amazing, because there's so many cool places to go around Europe, like close by, quick flights, quick train rides.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, epic.
Yeah.
So then you came to New Zealand, and so you started your company here. Did you go straight on? Were you on the tools when you started here, or did you just?
Yeah. So the Fit Out UK thing, just a real quick backstory. I started off, like I said, I wanted to try out the whole project management side, and I replaced a New Zealand guy who was coming home, and I spent 2 weeks they said, follow him around, follow Tom, see what he does, you'll take over his job. After 2 weeks of watching Tom, I went to the boss and said, I can't do that. Like, he's amazing. That guy is like an encyclopedia of information. He can remember everyone's names, he knows everything that's going on multiple jobs. Like, I was like, I can't do that. So the boss said, I said, I'm just going to go back on the tools. And he was like, all right, you can go run this big commercial site. It was huge. With your tool bag on, put your shitty pants back on, your shitty boots,
Back to it?
Back to it. And so, back into my safe place, but still run the job. And then about 2 months later, I clicked that I was actually doing Tom's job. I just wasn't wearing the white shirt and the slacks,
And probably not the same pay either, I'd imagine.
Well, yeah, no, it was. But it was cool because it made me realise that, I got a foot in the door in project management that probably here in Australia I would have had to do a degree to do.
Right.
And it was a real good turning point in my mindset that I was like, moving forward to running men, like running a business and running teams and stuff. So it was cool. It gave me that confidence that I wouldn't have got in Australia or New Zealand, You just wouldn't have got that opportunity.
Yeah.
I had 30 chippies under me. It was a massive commercial site, and we were the go-to guys for the carpentry work. So, yeah, it was a really cool way to get into it. And then that finished up and I met my wife, who's a Kiwi, and obviously...
Yeah. The rest is history.
The rest is history.
And it's quite interesting though. So what was that change in your mindset? Because you get on a plane, you fly to the UK, you're a chippy, you fly on the plane back, now you're Mr. Project Manager. What sort of shift needed to take place in your mindset to kind of get from one to the other? Because how we see ourselves is kind of important, right?
Yeah, it was funny. It all happened in London. It was really cool. I don't know if it was the the change of, moving somewhere foreign and being a bit out of your depth, or whether it was just an age thing and a maturity thing. I think I quite often tell my apprentices, it wasn't until I was 25 that I actually one day sort of went, I'm actually good at this, But all those years before I was not confident that I was good at what I did for a living, So London, I think, because over in London, if you just were confident enough to have a crack at a job role, they'd give it to you, whereas here they'd say, well, have you done project management? No. So, yeah.
Got your PMP or something?
Yeah. So, you got to sort of be thrown in the deep end to see if you sink or swim. And if you swim, the world's your oyster. How far can you go? It was cool. So, I went over there as this country boy who was going to party and could swing a hammer, and then came back sort of really full of confidence and pumped about the level of quality that some people are doing, So it was cool. London was a game changer for me. It's huge.
Yeah, and I think it's probably a big part of that was probably you stepping out of your normal environment. You could almost reinvent yourself over there.
Totally.
And come back like a new man,
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's very cool. So then how long did it take before you started your business over here?
So a bloke I worked with in London, he'd moved back already, and he got me a job with his boss, We were doing a big renovation in Remuera. And I worked there for probably, I don't know how long we worked there, probably a year. And then I'm not quite sure what happened. Him and the clients had a bit of a dust up. I'm not sure, They parted ways, so, the job was over. And the writing was on the wall for me with him anyway for a while. And I was keen to do my own thing. And they came to me and said, would you take over the job? And I said, no. I said, I can't, my first job can't be taken over of someone else's, I said, but in 6 months, if you haven't got a builder, give me a call. And like on the day of 6 months, they rang me and said, right, when starting, And for that 6 months, I'd been doing, decks and fences and,
Right, so you're pretty keen to get back.
As you do when you start, I started off in New Zealand. I knew my wife, but I didn't know anyone else. So, I didn't have a network. I didn't have anything. So I sort of started off really small and, So, it was cool. I went there and I finished that renovation and then that sort of good old Auckland word of mouth thing started to roll, from they introduced me to someone and then that person, introduced me to someone and it's sort of rolled on ever since.